We are less than 2 weeks away from the final Republican presidential debate hosted by NBC. Lester Holt, Kristen Welker, and Hugh Hewitt will moderate.
So far, 4 candidates have qualified for the debate. Frontrunner and former President Donald Trump, who said he will not attend. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, former UN Ambassador and former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, and Ohio businessman Vivek Ramaswamy, the last of which is joining us this morning.
Mr. Ramaswamy, good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Good to see you guys.
Now, Mr. Ramaswamy, the big story, obviously, and unfortunately, the mass shooting that left 15 to 20 dead at this moment in Maine last night. Still looking for the gunman. What were your first reactions to seeing that headline? And if you were president, what would you plan to do to try to curb the gun violence in America?
My heart goes out to those families and those victims. That's the first thing that occurred to me last night. But waking up this morning, it's just another reflection on the mental health epidemic in this country. We have a mental health crisis. Right now, we have a form of mental health care that's really just our prison system. What we need to bring back are those psychiatric institutions that we closed. Over the same period that we shut down those psychiatric institutions, we've seen a sharp uptick in violent crime in this country. And that doesn't mean bringing back pharmaceutical approaches. It means even faith-based approaches and other approaches that fulfill our hunger for purpose and meaning. That is what is driving this mental health crisis. Turns out that most of the people who have committed mass shootings have also been raised in fatherless households. So bringing back faith, family, mental health care, I think that addresses the underlying problem of not just gun violence, but many forms of violent crime across this country.
And turning to international headlines, you posted a video on social media yesterday saying you support Israel's right to defend itself. You also said America needs to ask questions about potential involvement. So what would you ask yourself and the American people if you were the commander-in-chief?
So my view is we have made bad mistakes in this country, in Iraq and Afghanistan, sacrificing thousands upon thousands of innocent American lives in just those 2 wars. $33 trillion national debt today, $6.5 trillion of it is attributable to those 2 wars in the Middle East. I don't want to repeat those same mistakes because back then we did not have open debate about why exactly we were there and what we wanted to accomplish. I do worry that this ground invasion into Gaza is not going to serve Israel well, and it's not going to serve the United States well if we get involved in another prolonged no-win war in the Middle East. So yes, I do support Israel and its right to national self-defense. But I think that before we spend our money or send our troops, we have to ask questions about what are the clear objectives. In and out operation to take out Hamas leadership, great, that's one thing. A prolonged ground war that has no clear objectives in Gaza, that's a path to a prolonged conflict in the Middle East that's not going to advance either American interests or Israeli interests. And it's telling that I am the only one really in the GOP right now that's willing to even ask those questions. The other candidates are afraid to say it for fear of being labeled anti-Israel. The reality is what I'm saying is the most pro-Israel thing you could actually say in a deeper sense, but even more important, pro-American thing that I can say. And I am running to lead the President of the United States of America, and my moral obligation is to advance the citizens of this country, and I won't back down from that.
Border security has been one of the top issues as well. Last month, Iowa National Guardsmen and Iowa State troopers turned over nearly 500 immigrants attempting to cross the southern border illegally. They were sent there by Governor Kim Reynolds here in Iowa. Mr. Ramaswamy, you have a unique background. Your parents are Indian, Hindu immigrants, and you understand the desire for a lot of these people to get to America. You called what was happening there a direct attack on the rule of law in America at our southern border. How would you address what's happening down there?
There is a fundamental difference between coming to this country legally and entering it illegally. We have a crisis at our southern border. I saw it with my own eyes just 2 weeks ago when I was in Eagle Pass. People crossing the border regularly. And the worst part is it is orchestrated by our own government. I think that is a large-scale breakage of the violation of the rule of law. I would use aquatic barriers in the Rio Grande, use our own military to seal our own southern border, end federal funding for sanctuary cities, end birthright citizenship for the kids of illegal immigrants to this country, and not just do it at the southern border. 2 weeks ago, I also visited the northern border in this country, which is wide open. And we have seen more border crossings on the northern border than we have seen in the last 12 years combined. That too is a problem. And I worry that if what we saw, the tragedy that we saw happen in Israel, if that can happen over there, a breach of their border security, I worry it can happen right here at home in the United States of America, where we have more fentanyl crossing the southern border that's going to kill 50 times as many people who died on 9/11, slated to die this year as a consequence of fentanyl illegally crossing our borders. That will end on my watch. As Commander-in-Chief, I will be able to use our military to secure our own borders in this country. Rather than using it halfway around the world to fight somebody else's war, let's use it to prevent the invasion into our own country right here at home. That's how I would lead.
The third GOP debate coming up soon for you, Mr. Ramaswamy, but just 81 days away from the Iowa caucus. Earlier this week, you went on record having some high confidence saying you could come out of Iowa with a win in that caucus. You've been here a lot lately. What are some of the values that you see in Iowans that make you so confident that you could be victorious on caucus night?
I'm an evangelist for the First in the Nation caucus status now, having seen it on the ground. We've been to pizza ranches across the state. We're going to college campuses everywhere. In fact, this Friday night, we'll be doing what we call a free food, free speech, free drinks tour at Ames and amongst students of Iowa State to have open debates amongst young people. Part of my confidence is that we're bringing people into the caucus process who have never participated in it before, but who are true patriots that want to see this country revived. People see that we're in the middle of a national identity crisis, that faith, patriotism, hard work, family, they have disappeared across this country, but they are alive and well amongst the people who look to go to this caucus in January 15th in Iowa. So I'm confident that we're going to revive our missing national identity. That's going to start in Iowa on January 15th. I do think it's going to take a leader from a different generation, a leader coming from the outside, a leader whose best days are still yet ahead in life, to see a country whose best days are still ahead of itself. And I truly believe we don't have to be that nation in decline. I still think we can be a nation in our ascent, still on our way to being the country where no matter who you are or where your parents came from or how long your last name is in my case, that you get ahead in this country with your own hard work, your own commitment, your own dedication, and that you are free to speak your mind at every step of the way. That is the American dream. I see Iowans across the state who deeply understand that. Now's our time to then speak up for those values. That happens on January 15th, and I'm looking forward to the Iowa caucus, and it's been actually my honor, and our family has had a tremendous amount of fun as well, crossing the entire state. We're going to be back again this weekend.
Okay, Vivek Ramaswamy joining us live this morning on Today in Iowa. Thank you so much for speaking with us.